Hi, I'm Michael Traynor. I play Nicholas in The Walking Dead. I'm gonna answer some motherfucking questions. It's about to get real. Creech questions.
Welcome back to part 2 of Creech Questions with the Michael Traynor sessions. It's me again, CJ, along with...
Me again, Chastity.
And we are interviewing the one, the only, the Traynor.
Okay, well, I have actually a question from Anna Wade. She said, how much knowledge are you given, not just about the future of your character, but other characters in the show?
Very little. Very little. Really, genuinely very little. If there's a huge plot point or a character twist that comes up in a script, in my experience is that the showrunner or the showrunner Scott Gimple or the writer of that episode will pull you aside and kind of say, hey, here's our thinking for where this is coming from, just so you have a means of sort of connecting the dots of who your character is from the last 2 episodes to what happens in this episode. But I think part of the charm of the show is that everybody's sort of reacting in a genuine, very gut level, or rather gut instinct reaction to the storylines. You know, we don't have a whole long, at least some of the guest cast, or I'm not sure what it's like for those who are more established within the show. But, you get the script, and then very often it's just like the next day or two you're shooting some of those scenes from that script. And so it really is, they do a great job of casting because the actors have the facility to really sort of take in the new story bits and then metabolize them and then, throw it down and capture that shit on film.
Nice.
So not a lot of lead time.
So that they don't send you a Black Ops style script where there's certain things blacked out or anything like that?
No. Shit's redacted. What happens in scene 24? Damn it! Someone tell me. You're paying a PA. Yo, Mr. PA, how many cupcakes is it gonna take for me to get the full script, man? Cupcakes. Yeah, that's the big contraband. No. When they release the script, they release the full script, but they only release it, a week before that episode is being filmed. And you have to, give blood to make sure that it's you who's actually reading the script. It's a eye scanner. There's fingerprints. There's watermarks. They still have my firstborn as ransom in case any of the scripts ever leak. And I don't even have children yet, so I'm not sure how they did that, but apparently they have them.
All right, and the next question is actually, you just brought up a little bit ago, Noah's death. Most actors on the show can say they've killed plenty of walkers, but I don't think there's many that especially that are still alive, that can say they've killed other human beings on the show or led to the death of other human beings. How does it feel to be really in that, I guess you could say, exclusive club?
Well, jeepers, thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank God Almighty and His power to allow me to have this honor. I'd like to thank everybody. It's been a pretty cool thing to have the honor of killing a much beloved character. It was strange. It was a strange thing to have people react so strongly to that and to them immediately blaming Nicholas, because I don't think it's very fair. When Nicholas left, Noah was alive, so I don't think Nicholas killed Noah. I think Glenn did. But, that's just the way of it. I mean, think about it, right? Nicholas left, Noah and Glenn were both alive.
That is very true.
Glenn kind of let go, huh? He kind of let go.
He pulled a Titanic.
He pulled a Titanic. He's like, yo, dude, sorry, not enough room on the raft. See ya. Yeah.
Gary Hill said, what do you think of your character's reception by fans?
Appropriate. The level of ridicule and hatred is totally appropriate. But a lot of the fans see a chance for the character to go in a lot of different ways. There's a big argument. It's like, is there going to be redemption, or is there going to be continued douchery from Nicholas in season 6? And I think it's exciting that there was enough complexity in the writing and the way the character was received for that debate to exist. You're not certain about Nicholas, and that's exciting. So that sort of wariness is really a fun thing to experience from the fans.
All right, well, and let's hope that hopefully the douchery does continue, because usually when people have a change of heart, it usually doesn't work too well for them in the show.
Yeah, right? Like that one character, the one from the prison, who's like, you know what, Carol, I think you're a fine woman.
Yeah.
Never hit on Carol, guys. Never hit on Carol.
Unless you're Daryl, and then it's fine.
Unless you're Daryl, right? Yeah, who knows?
I think Daryl can hit on anybody, though, on the show, and everybody be fine with it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how the show ends eventually. Season 12. It's just like some big Daryl orgy. We've beaten all the walkers. Time to get funky. And then like some Barry White turns on, and Daryl's just covered in Carol's cookies.
I'm pretty sure that may be the highest rated episode of anything in history.
I know, right? You guys just broke television.
And the next question I got is from that is Asinine, and she asks, pertaining to your character, if you had a choice, on The Walking Dead, would you rather be a major character that goes out in a blaze of glory, or a secondary character that has longevity?
The old glory versus a paycheck question. It's hard to say. Right now, my character could go either way, and I can see there being joys of both. It's hard. It's such a cool show, and it's outside of the ratings and all that, how celebrated the show is, it's a great job to have. And as an actor, we really are like a bunch of gypsies going from job to job. It's a pretty phenomenal gig, and all the people from the set PAs who are busting their ass in the hot Georgia sun, grabbing people coffee and making sure that the day runs smoothly, to Scott, who is this sort of brilliant narrative mastermind. Everyone's really awesome, and so I think I would love to stay on the show as long as there are humans fighting against the impending Walker apocalypse.
Okay.
All right. At TWD Sweden, what's the weirdest thing anyone has ever said to you?
My first convention, I went to use the bathroom, and there was this guy who was in the urinal next to me, and he proclaimed very loudly, "Oh, wow, I've never peed next to a celebrity before." Wherein I immediately stopped peeing, zipped up, and left the bathroom.
That's an appropriate response.
Totally, Next up, she's like, "Woohoo, I've never touched the penis of a celebrity before," and then it just goes bad.
Oh my god!
It could go very bad. He could throw a
go
burlap
totally
sack
bad,
over you.
That, or he says, "Hey, will you sign this?" Again, a bad next step in that scenario. There's no good next step in that scenario outside of me just leaving, dribbling down my pants a little bit, smiling as I wave to everybody. Yeah, I'm the celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, he could have kidnapped you and you wound up a lampshade.
Wow. I hadn't even thought of that. That's even worse. That's it. I'm never going into a public restroom again for fear of becoming a lampshade. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you're welcome. That's what I do.
as I look up at home decatheter on my laptop. If I just pee into a bag, I will never turn into a lampshade. Success. Hashtag lampshader spoiled.
All right. Is it your question? Or it's mine.
Is it your question? What's happening? I can picture Michael's dick as a lampshade. What's happening here, guys?
Hashtag Traynor's lamp.
Traynor's lamp. Exactly. It's like Aladdin's lamp. Oh, no, I'm not going to go there. All right, anyway.
All right. At Dead Connection wants to know, with your work on The Walking Dead and Rectify, what is your favorite thing about filming in Sonoya?
I think it's the dodging all the snakes and ticks, because that just keeps you on your toes. No, the crews are really great down there. I mean, both films, there was a few crew members, both TV shows rather, there was some crossover between some of the crew, and everyone, like when you're out there in the heat and in the woods and with the bugs and all that jazz, your true colors sort of show through, and everyone has a real great sense of humor about it. And so between the two shows, outside of like the awesome writing, like genuinely awesome writing, like you see these scripts on the page and you're blown away. The crews, they're who you spend 12 hours of your days with, 14 hours of your days with, and they're there before you get there, and they're there after you leave and get escorted in your air-conditioned van back to your little trailer. So both of my experiences have been made especially memorable and enjoyable by the crews with a good sense of humor. It sounds like I'm running for fucking mayor, doesn't it? These answers are so like pat, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm just being genuine.
No, talk all you want. We love it. Anna Wade has another question for you. She said, "Is it
no more questions?" Just kidding. What's the question?
It's okay. Is it difficult as an actor to uproot your life and live in a new city while filming?
Difficult. Again, part of the job, right? You sign on to be a gypsy. You sign on to you live your life every day hoping you get an audition, which is basically like hoping you get an interview for someone to be able to tell you yes or no. So, most people in their lives have like, just, maybe 10 or so job interviews in their whole career, whereas actors, we spend our whole lives being interviewed, auditioned for a chance to do something fun. So when you do finally get a job, the job is almost like a vacation. You're no longer auditioning, interviewing, and all that jazz. So it's kind of like more of a vacation, the uprooting. So it's not so difficult. It can be hard, I have a phenomenal girlfriend. We've been together for like almost 10 years, and I have a puppy. So it's hard to be away from them. But not difficult. It's exciting. We're both actors, and so it's just, that's part of the job, and that's part of the adventure of pursuing this silly career. Another long answer to a very simple question.
Like I said, we love it.
Okay, good.
Yes, and Samantha Bowman asks, The Walking Dead fans are extremely loyal and can take it to the extreme at times. Is there anything that you feel this passionate about as a fan?
That's a good question.
Awkward silence.
Dungeons? No, I guess I'm trying to think of it because, like, here's the thing. So, having been on the receiving end of at a few of these little conventions, and even just like randomly meeting people like in the street or in the supermarket the other day, somebody came up to me and chatted with me for like 5 minutes about what they loved about season 5, even stuff that happened before Nicholas was involved. All which I like to call the boring episodes before I came on the show. No, I'm just kidding, world. There was such fervor. Like, this dude was into the show. And, he was like he works in finance. He's a totally successful person, just loves the show. And I think, I'm an acting geek. I love acting. I love being around and hanging around other actors who are, friends and peers. and I'm very focused on that, but it's almost like being focused on my job. I don't know that I've encountered something in my life. Like, I used to love D&D, like, to a ridiculous degree. I loved it when I was in high school and before then, and, you know, designed a campaign world setting and things of that sort. And but I don't know that in my adult life I have that kind of fervor. And I say that not as, like, you know, it's almost a deficit on my part that I haven't found something that I love that truly and genuinely and like enthusiastically as some of the fans I've met on The Walking Dead. So I don't know. I don't know that I have anything that speaks to my geeky heart like that.
Well, I mean, of course you love our podcast, so there's that.
Yeah, I gotta listen to you guys constantly. You are the voice in my ear when I go to sleep at night, when I wake up in the morning. It's all you guys all the time.
It's good to know.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So, in Smiley, which is like your newer film, you were the killer, and in the more of like a predator, and in The Walking Dead, you're more the prey. Which do you find more exciting to be?
That's great. That's a great thing. It's a great question. Comparing those two projects are kind of hard, just because in one of them I'm a dude in a mask, and in the other I'm a coward in the flesh. But I think the being scared, the being the prey is almost more exciting, because you have to figure out ways to evade the bad guy, ways to evade being caught, and it seems a bit more dynamic and more challenging to pull off, acting-wise, schmacting-wise. So yeah, not that I don't love me some Smiley. There's talks of a sequel and all that jazz, but
nice.
You know.
All right, I've got a @Scrappin' fan wants to know, based on your Twitter handle name, where exactly is Traynorland?
Traynorland. You hit Ireland, and then you turn left at Disneyland, and then you go on to Dolly World, and then just beyond there is Traynorland.
Nice. Okay, so you're pretty much by all the big stuff.
We're up there in Landville. We have a nice little house in Landville, where all the little lands are.
I feel like I'm about to go on a Lord of the Rings adventure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Totally.
just past the Shire.
In Middle Earth, just past the Rohirrim, there is Traynorland. Take a left at Mordor. Don't park there. Lots of parking tickets. Little hobbits as valets. That'd be awesome.
That would be very awesome.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't get your damn hairy feet all over my car, man.
Yeah, you wouldn't even be able to see them. Like, if you were sitting in the car, they'd have to like tap on the
Lord of the
windows.
Rings. Lord of the Rings is something I was intensely into. That's something I knew there was. Like he backtracks. Something I used to like be a deep fan over. I was Lord of the Rings. I read like the Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, everything. I loved Lord of the Rings, and I loved the first bunch of movies too, and the second bunch. The Hobbit was great, but Lord of the Rings.
See, look at that.
Something about swords and wizards I liked a lot. Gee, Michael, do you want to explore why you had such escapist fantasies as a child? No, I don't want to. Next question.
All right. So you've done many things. You've written, you've produced, you've directed, and you've acted. What do you find your greatest passion in?
Easily acting. Everything else was born of opportunities to either like stay in LA. Like I started writing because I wasn't getting acting jobs and people were offering writing jobs, and so okay, I'll write in order to pay my rent to stay here so that I can keep auditioning for things. When I was in New York City as an actor, I just acted, and then when I came out here, LA can be a glorious and amazing place. It also could be like sort of difficult to kind of find your way in. And so along the road, it was, diversify or pack up and go home. so I found myself learning new skill sets and doing different jobs in order to sort of stay here and pursue the dream of acting full time. So acting. Short answer.
All right, I got Samantha Bowman asked, and I don't know if it can really be topped with the whole peeing and possibly turning into a lampshade experience. But what has been
we'll give it a try. Ask away.
What has been your strangest fan experience?
Again, we'll go back to like we've hit some of the big ones with the signing a child, tattooing a child, and then having my what's it threatened in a bathroom stall at the urinal. It wasn't like in a bathroom stall; it was at a urinal. It wasn't like in the bathroom stall with me going, "I'll never pee next to a celebrity." That's a terrible picture. Well, sir, get out of my stall, number one, and number two, I'll sign autographs later. Another fun one was this. I was in the elevator with this one girl, and she just kept snickering, and then like I got up on my floor, and she goes, "I think I love you, Nicholas." And she was just adorable. She was adorable. It wasn't a weird thing, but she was just snickering the whole time, like she couldn't contain herself. And you know how it is, man. I have that effect on ladies all the time, so. This in their silence. I don't. It was a really cute experience. Not a weird experience, but lovely. But really, the lampshade, which is something you threw into the mix, which
yes.
I think we should discuss that. Why are you turning people into lampshades, dude? What's that all about?
I've watched too many horror movies, I guess.
I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie that they turn someone into a lampshade.
Interior design, the nightmare. This family of four were sitting at home watching a television show. Little did they know they'd be accessories by morning.
All right, so your acting career includes theater, television, and film work. Do you have a favorite of these?
Acting in theater is great because it's the immediate reaction to are you doing well or are you sucking ass? And, you have also an immediate impact on an audience, which is exciting. Theater is about moving the audience. It's about conveying a story to the audience. And there's just an immediate sense of contributing to whatever the community, of that evening is. Whereas film and TV is so, separated from that experience. You can, film especially. I've shot films 2 years ago that are still, being done in post-production. I have very little memory even of making them. So I think theater always has been sort of a real joy and a real, when I get tired of acting or if I get kind of burnt out, I'll go back and do that to kind of reinvigorate. And reconnect with what I truly dig about doing this silly craft. And then beyond that, I think I like TV because you're sort of invited into people's homes, which is a nice thing,
Yeah.
Basically, I'm saying fuck film. Film can go fuck itself. That's what I'm saying.
All right, and
just kidding, film directors listening in. Just kidding.
Yes, he still wants to be in your movies, so.
Yeah.
Samantha Bowen asked if the role of Nicholas wasn't available, what other Walking Dead character would you like to see yourself playing?
I want to be Michonne's sword.
The sword or Michonne?
Just the sword. I'm not going to be Michonne. I look ridiculous in dreadlocks. Just the sword. Just because once you're the sword, you're going to be the sword forever, man. Like no one's going to recast the sword. I'm like the sword forever.
Very true.
And whenever I come out, it's like badass, and I always kill the walkers. And you know what? No one's going to say, oh, look at that sword. It's such a coward. No. Not like Nicholas. The sword's badass. I'd be Michonne's sword.
I wonder how many household items you're going to turn into by the end of this podcast.
We have no idea. My spirit animal is a Vitamix. That's all I'm saying. Vitamix, they're amazing. Do you guys have one? You should get one. We should like hashtag Vitamix on this podcast and have Vitamix send you all Vitamixes.
I will.
I bought mine, but let's see if we can get you some Vitamix.
Yes.
Dear Mr. Vitamix.
This podcast is brought to you by Vitamix.
This broadcast is unofficially brought to you by Vitamix.
So there are many funny stories from actors who walked on The Walking Dead. They get asked about funny stories all the time. Do you have any funny stories or a funny moment from working on The Walking Dead?
No. You're like, oh,
to
shit.
put it bluntly, no.
Nope, it's a horrible experience. I do it for the money and the free craft food.
Which I hear is very tasty.
Like I said, there's lots of, like I said, like, you know, the focus is doing the work, and then there's like a lot of laughter after that. As far as funny stories go, like I said, my first thing I shot was like the opening the gates, and there's, you know, Rick and Daryl and Michonne and everybody. And so that was sort of like a funny experience of like, these are the people of your neighborhood. Here's your first scene you're doing. You're opening up a big gate, and there's the cast of The Walking Fucking Dead. Don't lose your shit, because, you know, there's a bunch of cameras behind you filming you. And so it was like a funny sort of thrown into the deep end, you know. Then the next scene, I'm being tackled by Daryl, and we're comparing bruises, and he's saying, like, yeah, man, this show's rough. And, you know, but the whole time I'm like sort of like, don't smile when the camera's on you, because you're having such a good time. You're supposed to be angry at this man. It's not fun that you're being tackled by people whose work you admire, you know. Not like a laugh out loud funny, but just sort of an awkward situation of like being that kid in the candy store that first day.
Nice.
Now, speaking of Daryl, have you been licked by him yet?
I thought we had left that lampshade story behind us, man. He came up to the first day, he goes, "You're like a pretty lampshade," and he licked me and tried to turn on my lights. No. I wonder if that's going to get me in trouble. No, I have yet to be licked by Norman.
Oh.
But I guess I look forward to it, is what I'm supposed to say. Awkward silence.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm human too. Yeah.
We're all human, guys. I know. Listen, and after anybody talks about being licked by Daryl, I think a moment of silence is required, right?
He's very true.
Sorry,
Just the glory of it.
I must have like
Right
floated
there.
away.
Right there, we'll play some sad violin strings.
Okay.
Sad violin strings, like a mariachi band, dude. I'm sure getting licked by Norman is like having a mariachi band explode on your face. And I mean that in a good way. If there's a way that can be perceived as bad, don't take it that way. It's like a jubilation of physical contact.
That's like a whole choir
What
of
I hear.
angels.
What I read on the internet.
So your character, Nicholas and Glenn, pretty much had a death match, which either one of you could have been killed. What was it like shooting such an emotional and physically demanding scene?
It was hard. There was definitely a difficult few days of filming. We had an excellent stuntman, Monty Simmons, on hand, stunt coordinator, and we both had stunt doubles there, but, Steven and I walked as a blocking, and then, like foolhardy actors, adrenaline pumping through our bodies, like, no, we can do this. And so it was just him and I, like, taking, the hits, being slammed against trees and being slammed on the ground repeatedly from all the different camera angles. So after a while, the exhaustion wasn't acted. It was just, we were just exhausted and our bodies hurt. And, but it's good. You go home and you feel like, oh man, we just told a really cool story. And, he's awesome just to work with, and really just never once does he come without throwing like 100% behind every take for every scene. And with that sort of inspiration, you got to bring your A game too. You can't be like, hey guys, let's get this. I didn't want to like puss out and be like, take 4. Like, can we have a stuntman do this toss to the ground? When Steven's like, let's do it, man, let's do it. You're like, all right, I'm in it too, all the way, manly. So those scenes were grueling to do, but I think rewarding. And as a fan, I think it's a great fight scene. It's really fun.
Definitely had me on the edge of my seat when I was watching it, and I was like, oh my god, who's gonna die? I really thought someone was gonna die.
Yeah, I know. And then, Nicholas, scrambles away when those walkers descend on him, and the whole thing, even as I was reading that final script, episode 16 of season 5, I kept turning the page thinking, this is it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to die. It makes total sense. What a way to go. You're going to die. And then I reread that last scene a few different times. Do I survive? He decides not to kill me? That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I think a masterful sense of completing the theme of what season 5 was to me, which is the idea of in rebuilding civilization, how much barbarity do you need? How much kindness do you need in kind of crafting a new society? These are some big questions that these dudes are encountering, and I thought that it was a wonderful counterpoint to the totally justified brutality of offing Pete.
Yeah, and I think a big part of the show is keeping your humanity, and I think that scene really, really showed it.
Yeah, it is. I think that was the question, right? Because, the brilliant thing about season 5 is it begins with, some amazing, perilous, escape from Terminus because of the family. Because, Carol comes back and the family's reunited, and the idea of, can the family survive? And then what happens when you introduce that family to a civilization, to a society? How does that, what's the word I'm looking for? Not intermingling, that introduction, that interaction take place? What level of that barbarity that served you so well outside the gates of Alexandria needs to stay within it? Keep people in line, I don't know. Big questions. What are your thoughts?
Turning it on us.
Boom.
Well, my thoughts are, in a situation like that, keeping your humanity would be pretty difficult, considering you're scared about everything. And at this point in the show, I think they're more afraid of people than they are walkers. So to let someone live, and especially after they've attacked you, that takes some strength. Something I don't think many people would actually have the strength to do in a real life situation. So
yeah, that's very true.
I don't know what I would do because I would have probably been dead when the 3 walkers fell on me, so I wouldn't have made it back.
Well, in season 6, I'll make sure I pick on you then.
Okay. I've got Crystal W wants to know, what has been the most gratifying part of becoming part of the Walking Dead family?
Just that, really, is the idea of the fans, and fans is such a weird word for me because it seems like that there's a distinction between, or a level of hierarchy, but the folks on Twitter I interact with or joke around with, they just seem pretty genuinely awesome. And everyone keeps saying, no matter what project, however long you're on The Walking Dead, whatever else you go to, you'll always have this fan base. And again, as a silly little gypsy artist trying to wonder, do people watch? Do they care? Does it make a difference? It's really lovely, not make a difference, changing the world, but make a difference as far as, be entertaining, put a smile and or allow people to forget whatever the concerns of their days are. It really does make a difference for us to know that people enjoy the work, and it seems like the Walking Dead family are really stalwart in their desire to follow the actors who have been a part of the show in whatever else they do. And so that's really nice. It really does feel like, as much as you can in this sort of fractured digital world, a sense of community, which is nice.
All right, and this is the last question.
Thank fucking God, right? Let's always take a moment of celebration for that. Who wants to hear me talk anymore? Not me. Not me.
Well, as you know, we are approved for press by AMC, and when I had Sonequa on the last time, it was around the mid-season, or actually the season finale of Season 5, and I asked her to describe the upcoming episode in one word. So, obviously no spoilers.
Right.
What one word would you use to describe the Season 6 opener?
Epic.
Nice.
It's truly epic. As a fan of the show, I read the script and I was hooting and hollering. Getting to do that episode, the season 1 opener, I know no matter where my career takes me, will be a highlight of my career. Greg Nicotero directs the fuck out of it, and it is just epic. What we get to see, the amount of story that's packed into it, the fanboy in me is so excited to be able to talk about it with friends and whatever. I can't wait for, October 11th to finally happen, so I can say, did you see that? How cool that is? And also I'm excited to see what they do with the editing, what they seem to have captured. There was a lot of times where I was in bigger scenes watching stuff take place that I was like, oh my God, I have the best seats to the most awesome episode. I sound so like I'm just, it really is. It's genuinely an epic episode.
Well, if I wasn't excited enough. Yeah, it's so exciting. And what stories it sort of continues, what stories it begins, the different questions. I mean, it's great. It's great.
So basically, we should be prepared for Twitter to break.
Yeah, we're going to fucking break Twitter.
It's going to be epic.
But first, we're all going to get Vitamixes, then we're going to break Twitter.
Yes. Vitamixes first. We have our priorities.
It's
so
amazing,
many
Vitamix.
hashtags today.
It's not as amazing as episode 1 of season 6, but, I mean, come on. If I'm going to be turned into any appliance, I want to be turned into a Vitamix.
All right. So that we have a total of 3 household items that we have turned you into today.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I mean, that was all the questions. We'll be covering press in Boston, so we'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah.
All right, you won't see me in the bathroom. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, we won't be in the bathroom. I don't think our cameras would be allowed back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to make that into a new verb. Dude, I almost got lampshaded in the bathroom. It's harrowing.
You are hilarious.
Oh, thanks. I genuinely hope it wasn't too rambly. I just excited to answer the questions. I want to be as thorough as I can.
That's awesome.
And you're welcome on anytime.
All right, tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. I'll call in, but I'll pretend to be somebody else. Hi, my name is Ross Marquand. I do voices.
Exactly.
I'm also an exceptionally talented actor, and I'm taller and more dashing than you'd expect in person. Ross Marquand, coming at you. Hi, I'm Ross Marquand. I play Ross Marquand in life. I'm on Creech Questions. Sorry.
No, you're good. So I just assumed that was your inner Saved by the Bell fan coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Have you had that faux pas before? This is the Creech Questions.
Yes. It happens a lot more than you think.
You should be like, no, motherfucker, learn to read. It's Creech. Do I look like a long-nosed porn-doing actor? No, I don't.
I've gotten Screech, Creature, and Creeches.
Creature always.
Creature Questions is kind of cool, though. What's up? You're with CJ Creature.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be a really good fit for Greg Nicotero to be on Creature
There
Questions.
you go, yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess we'll see you in 2-3-ish weeks. And
All
the
right,
podcast.
sounds good. Goodbye, Walking Dead family. Be careful of bathroom stalls. No one wants to be lampshaded.
At all. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye, buddy.
All right, you guys. I know you enjoyed it just as much as we did. I know all the hype was totally worth it, and you're not disappointed.
If you did, you're lying to yourself.
And to everyone else.
And to everyone else.
Your heart.
Your heart knows the truth.
And it knows that it was one of the best things that you ever heard. It almost brings a tear to my eyes.
And while she's crying, I'm just going to throw down the gauntlet and say, you know what? We are now 29 episodes in, and this is, hands down, the best episode we've ever done.
Agreed. We've had some really great episodes. We've had some really great guests. But I think this one is just so personal and just lighthearted, and we were able to answer so many fan questions and involve more than just Creech questions. And it's a really good feeling.
Exactly. And I mean, Jordan, Cullen, Eric, Dave, Saniqua, I do love all of you. And your podcasts were amazing as well. But this one, I don't know. This one, I have to say, takes the cake.
And if you're disappointed with that statement, please give us a ring. We'd love to have any of y'all back on our podcast and for full, interviews like we did with Traynor.
As a matter of fact, I'm issuing a challenge. If you are not satisfied with your rating compared to the Traynor episode, come back on the show. Give you a personal challenge to top it. I have faith in all of you.
Let's see what you can do.
And also, as our fans are listening to this Thursday night / Friday morning, hopefully, of this week. If not, then this really doesn't make any sense at all and just disregard. Me and Chastity are going to be on Zombie-Palooza Radio Friday nights at 9:15 to 10 o'clock. So definitely check us out. We'll be talking Creech Creative, some of what we've been up to, and may or may not have a big announcement. It kind of depends. I've been talking to somebody's agent almost all day today. So I might be able to announce some big news on the actual interview tomorrow night. But I will announce right now that me and Chastity are going to co-host an episode of the Walker Stalkers podcast.
And we are super unbelievably stoked about it. We can't wait. We do not have a date yet. But we are sitting at the edges of our chairs waiting in anticipation.
When I started this podcast, if you go back and listen to, I think it's episode 2 or 3, I listed why, before I started my Walking Dead wrap-up, one of the reasons why I didn't want to do a full podcast just based off of reviewing The Walking Dead, and one of the reasons was because of the Walker Stalkers podcast. I felt like they knocked it out of the park. And I've been a fan of that podcast for a long time, so it's going to be surreal to actually be a co-host for an episode of the Walker Stalkers podcast. But it's something that's really exciting, not just for Creech Creative, but just as a fan of The Walking Dead in general. We should be interviewing an actual actor on there with James from The Walking Dead, or maybe even a production member. So it's going to be like what we do on here, but we're doing it as part of the Walker Stalkers, which is just really cool. So I can't wait.
Neither can I. I've had so many experiences, great experiences being part of Creech Creative Productions, and they just keep getting better and better. And each time I'm like, how is it going to get better than this? And it always tops and tops and tops. And at this point, I expect more to happen with Creech Creative, and we're going to give you guys more, and we're going to keep pushing for you and bring you really good stuff. And we hope that you tune in tomorrow night, August 14th at 9:15 p.m. to the radio show for Zombie-Palooza Radio. You can find out more information at www.zombiepaloozaradio.com.
And I'll go ahead and announce next week we are having a return guest for another interview over the phone for Creech Questions. Cullen Moss is going to answer our challenge, and we are going to hit him hard with these questions. We are going to get to the bottom of the Lollybomb Gate. And I guess that's going to wrap it up this week for Creech Questions. Hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, you're lying. This has been CJ Creech.
And Chastity Valentine.
And we'll see you, along with Cullen, next week
On Creech Questions.